What's going on, everybody? How y'all feel? You tuned into another great episode of Male Translations with your host, Clarence Brown. I'm back at it again, y'all. This week, I'm going to take y'all on a little bit of a journey. Went up to Atlanta. You already know, peace up, A-Town down. Spoke to a great guy, man, a family member of mine, man. It's just like family. Silee Williams is his name. Brother's doing motivational speaking and public speaking all over the nation and just touching lives everywhere he goes. So I took a moment to sit down with him and talk with him in an interview and touch on some of the things going on in his life, some of the evolution that has been going on in his life, and also, more importantly, the importance of having somebody with you, so having that support system with you, and just talk about how essential that is. So y'all take a moment with me and check out this short video. I hope y'all like it. Like I say, it's a little bit of a journey. Had to go to ATL. It was cold in the mug, but we got it done. And I thank y'all for taking the time out. What's going on, everybody? How y'all feel? Tune in to another episode of Male Translations with your host, Clarence Brown. I'm here with an excellent guest of mine, man. One of the guys I respect so much. Black excellence right here is what I call it. Silee Williams. I like it. My brother's been all around this globe, especially the United States, with motivational speaking, and he has a mission that he's on right now. I want you to tell the viewers a little bit about what you've been doing and some of the goals and some of the things that you're trying to accomplish with your motivational speaking and other things.
Cool, man. Listen, first of all, I want to say this. I'm super excited to even be joining you on the podcast. Man, obviously, I've been watching different ones online. And to me, first of all, I want to start by saying this, is that it makes me super excited because this is something that we talked about last time, you and I met in Atlanta. Right. We were talking about different things that he wanted to do as far as career-wise. So I think it's one thing when you see people talk about things, which most people do. There's nothing abnormal about that. But it's very unique when you see people actually end up putting work behind it. And so, it's kind of some of the things that we were talking about downstairs. Right. I was saying just how impressive that is to me because, man, putting the work and putting the action behind the things makes a total difference on what happens in life for us.
It makes me blush, man. Kill off.
And so, but as far as me, man, like you said, I wrote a couple books. I'm just really excited about being able to come back and share a lot of the things that I've learned along the way. Right. Last night I was watching Ayana Fix My Life. I'm not sure I always mess up how you pronounce her name. But anyway, I was just talking about how great she is and how she's able to discover certain things.
That's one of your daughters, right?
What, my what?
Ayana?
No. The lady on OWN.
Oh, okay.
What's her name? Alanda? Whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever her name is. So I was talking about how she's able to help people. She's like a famous life coach.
Right.
And I was saying that I think it's so impressive of this is one of my dogs. I think it's so impressive of how she has the ability to discover certain things. But then I also said too, I wonder what experiences that she had that allows her the opportunity to be able to operate on this level. So that's the same way I feel about my life, is that I've been given a very unique experiences in life that helped me and gave me the opportunity to see things in a totally different way, from a totally different viewpoint. So I'm just glad that God has offered me the open door to go back and kind of share those things. And so I'm just as excited about that more than anything in my life, to really kind of help people, to motivate them to put things into action that they kind of felt that was dormant inside of them. So that's pretty much my story, man. And we doing some different things as far as traveling different places and different cities, being able to kind of share that same message. So I just kind of, is an honor and a privilege.
Right. Well, I mean, like you said, you've written multiple books, and you've inspired me in so many ways. I wanted to ask you, with the books that you've written, what was your motivation behind it? And kind of talk about some of the books you wrote.
Yeah, so, I think that's an excellent question, man. So the first book I wrote, which is the only one that's published, so I've actually written 3 books, but 2 of them are not published. So the book that I have out is called The Makings of a Champion. Right. And really what inspired me to write that book is the number one, well, let me say this. It's not one thing that inspired me. It was a collective of things built together. Okay. The number one thing that inspired me is that when I was in school, many people don't know this, but reading was one of the hardest subjects for me. Let me give you a prime example. Like when I was in the 6th grade, I was reading when I was in the 9th grade, I was reading like a 6th grade level. To the point that the teachers were telling my mom that I should be in special education, right? And so years later, I wrote it because I didn't really think I had the ability, which was my number one motivation. 2, which really kind of sparked me behind, is I actually got evicted from my apartment. Mm-hmm. And so I was putting it on the shelf month after month, like, man, I'm gonna get to it, never got to it. But during that time, it just really woke me up to so many different things. And all of a sudden, I started writing and penning different things in the book. I was like, man, listen, this is like now or never time. And I think because it put me in an opportunity where I didn't have anything to lose. And I was thinking, well, if this doesn't work, then it won't put me in any less of a position than I am now, because I really couldn't see my life anywhere less of rock bottom than what I already found myself. So I said, why not take a chance and put it to use? And so after that, that's really what kind of gave me the motivation. And then as writing the book, it started to inspire me to be able to kind of look back over certain things. When I first started to write the book, it had many different titles. And I landed on, after writing the last word and the last sentence of the book, I wrote the title of Makings of a Champion, because as I look back, I realized this is that most people feel like life events push them away from being able to do purpose, to be able to operate in purpose. Like, for example, they'll say something like, if this didn't happen, then I would be able to do this. Or if this didn't happen, I'll be able to do that. But the book really comes back and focuses me to understand this is that can be so, that's nowhere near as close to the truth. The fact of the matter is, everything on your life, everything on your journey is uniquely set up to make you into the person to be able to accomplish those things, but to accomplish those things on an excellent level. So it really helped me to help the readers to really refocus their attention. Things that are taking you away from purpose is equipping you to be the most effective in purpose.
Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. There's a lot to think about just off what you just said. Just moving forward, like with you traveling and you being an author and speaking at different places and events, like how does that affect your relationship?
Man, I think that's a really good question, and I think that I think that's yet to be determined for me, because I feel like sometimes when you're doing certain things that you feel like is made for you, you kind of overdo it. And but the thing that we sometimes don't think about is that everybody don't share the same vision with us, and which means they don't understand the same passion. So when you feel like, well, this is a dire need, I gotta be able to do this, and this is my moment, I've been working it so hard, they're like, well, what about me? And so I think we have to learn how to balance those things. Let me give you a prime example. A few weeks ago in Washington, D.C., they had a march called Justice at Elms, which is the 20th anniversary of the Million Man March, right? Hosted by Minister Farrakhan. So here in Atlanta, I was a part of the planning committee for the march that's going to take place in Washington.
That's crazy.
And so, we were doing those things. And so after the march, we still have meetings about different things in the community and things that we're going to do. Well, last Tuesday, before this, I was out of town doing some different things. And so this last Tuesday, I was going to one of the planning marches. I haven't been there in a while. But then I was like, well, I'm going to be out of town so much. So I called my girlfriend and was like, listen, I'm just going to actually stop by and I'm going to come play the video game with her son. Because I had to be able to consciously think about moments that I could be able to create. Because again, there was other moments where I may not have the ability to do that. And although the things I want to do in the community are important, this is also as equally as important to me. So I have to learn how to make those balances and when to be able to sacrifice at what time. And I think that those are things you're just going to have to be able to learn by instincts. Like, what do you feel is going to take place? I felt like the movement would still be able to go on with me at this one meeting or not. But me being able to spend time with him in that way could be critical to things that he may need. So which one should I be able to sacrifice and why?
Yeah. You're going to have to be able to do a juggling act, especially as your name start to build more. And everywhere I know, people know you. But going forward and with you doing more things, it's going to become harder and harder for you to balance that. Now, last time we talked, let me say this before I say that, is that I don't want people to think about they're putting too much pressure on them, because I want you to understand this. So if you're doing things in your career, if you're doing things in a relationship, if you're a parent, these are all areas that you're going to have effect on. But think about it now, I don't mean to cut you off, but a lot of people, when they have those responsibilities, they lose the ability to chase their dream. They lose that ambition because life stresses take hold.
Right, that's true. And so what I was going to say is this, is that although you have all these areas that you want to be able to perform in, understand this is that don't put too much pressure on yourself, because and to be honest and true, one of these areas you're going to fail in every day. But I think the goal of life is to not fail in the same area repeatedly over and over again. But if I'm chasing after my dream on Monday, I may not be able to spend as much time with my daughter on the same day.
True.
So one of those things I'm going to have to deal. On Tuesday, I may be spending time with my kids, but that may be something I have to say no to. So there's going to be a deficiency in one area, but I think what causes it to be a problem is that when it keeps showing up and you keep neglecting the same area repeatedly, day after day after day. So don't put too much pressure on yourself as if you're going to be able to master them all. Just don't try to fail in all of them repeatedly as often.
Gotcha. Now I'm going to ask you a question.
Yes.
Since last time we spoke, you weren't too heavy on relationships. You like, man,
I don't know if that's what I said.
It was something around there in the text.
I don't even think I said anything in that neighborhood.
Yes,
but
you did.
Either way.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So I want to ask you, like, is there a future Miss Williams you have? You have somebody that is a prospect for maybe one day down the line being Miss Silee Williams?
Yeah, I would say so, man. Like I said, I don't remember us having a conversation saying I wasn't big on relationships. I might have said something like I wasn't in a relationship.
Yeah, you said that, but it was more the way your body language was speaking more so than when your words. You know what I mean? And the way your whole swag was like, man, I ain't really,
Yeah. Maybe I was just saying I didn't meet a person that was worth the while at that moment.
Okay.
Maybe that's what I was saying.
So you met someone that's worth your while.
Yeah, man. I most definitely think so. Now, as far as the other questions that you asked me, I would say that those things are kind of being developed and matured.
You think that helps you with doing what you need to do, and does it kind of give you more of a support system that you be able to get out and feel like you can accomplish all that you accomplish knowing you got somebody behind you? Or how that work?
Yeah, I think so, man. Is that I would say this. I think that people can be good by themselves, but I don't think you can be great alone.
Why is that?
Well, because even think about it in the Bible, like when God was talking about Adam, he was like, it's not good, it's not that man, it's not good for man to be alone. True. Meaning I can't be able to accomplish my full ability by myself. So you're going to have other people around you who are able to play those roles in which you cannot. To be able, and not only play the roles that you cannot, but it's also very critical that you have people who can see things that can be able to talk you into seeing yourself in a different light. Because there may be some areas where I feel like I'm good at, or maybe some areas I feel like I'm not good at. Well, with someone else who you care about, someone else who you love and they love you, start to tell you, man, you're really good at this. You're able to do this. All of a sudden, you start to want to perform at a level that's a lot better to just impress them by your actions. So what does that do? It starts to push you forward. So without having that behind you, you're not going to be able to excel to the best use of who you are because you don't necessarily have that extra push to give you what you need. So that's why I think it's essential. Again, I think you can be good alone, but I don't think you'll be able to reach the level of great by yourself.